Hello there. Welcome back. I know it's been a while, and I had promised to do this more regularly. And then I had to go on a work trip, and well, it's been a couple weeks. Let's dive right into it. And let's talk a little bit about splitting your attention in your whatever your creative field is, right? So, a couple weeks back, I'm for sure posted it here and there, and maybe on my little weekly blog post I do. I had to take this little puppy, my Nikon F3, to get checked, or I thought I had to. So I thought the light mirror was doing something wrong, but apparently it wasn't me. Anyway, we have this awesome place here that someone recommended to me on Instagram, and the guy is amazing. He knows so much about analog cameras and shooting film and all that. And while he was checking the F3, we got talking and got into like what I do and blah blah and what he does, or like besides repairing cameras and what he likes to shoot and all that stuff. And I was complaining a little bit about that it's so hard to find a proper lab around here, especially one that also does 4x5 and not only like 35mm and 120 film. And he's someone who primarily or really exclusively shoots black and white. And I know there are a lot of people who are like, there's so many people out there that camera companies are putting out digital monochrome cameras, right? So, but I've never been one of those people. I do like black and white whenever I feel like it is fitting. I also do use, like many do, black and white sometimes to rescue a photograph sometimes. Such a bad thing to say, but we know it's true. But I also just love color film. And I love to shoot 35mm, as I said, 120, 4x5. I love my little Instax thingy bobs here. And I like doing different stuff with all of it, right? Usually having like proper prints, having these weird little things that I will be putting out very soon, hopefully. And anyway, we got into that, and at some point while we're talking about the 4x5 stuff, he was like, yeah, no, you just have to concentrate. You're doing too many things. I'm like, huh? What exactly are we talking about? He's like, you cannot split your attention and shoot 4x5 and get proper results. And that's already where we get into a little bit of a, for me, troubling train of thought. It's like, well, if I only can just do this one thing or just shoot black and white to get proper results, where does that leave all the people who are not like super concentrated or super specialized on something? And how much merit actually, how much truth is to that? And that got me thinking. And I'm sure he didn't mean anything by it, but it's his belief, and that's how he apparently shoots. He only does medium format and large format, whatever. And that's cool if that works for you. For me, in general, I've not only feel like, but I've experienced that. If I don't do stuff like this, if I don't let my creative ideas flow and get out there and experiment and see how I can express myself through different things, sometimes it's cool to have like a, instant film that you can hang somewhere. Make your own picture frames out of 3D printed filament that you designed yourself for. I've made my own wooden frames, and I still love doing that if I get the chance, whatever. CNC stuff, this, that. It's like all these things that come together to express myself, right? I should have actually got I I guess you call it mixed media, whatever. Like, I love taking photographs of that I've made, print them to have something physical to hold them in hand, then work on the print, make the frames for like getting to something more complete than just the photograph. And it might sound, how do you say, patronizing maybe or whatever, and I don't mean to, but the photograph can be complete as is, even just in its digital form, even if you just shoot JPEG, whatever. There's no right or wrong for everyone. Like, you can't generalize the right and wrongs for yourself. It just has to do with how you want to express yourself, right? For example, it's great that shooting photos is or how I earn my money. And I love shooting photos. It's just, by now it has become a part of me, right? Being a photographer. But to complete me, sounds so dramatic, but there needs to be more to it for me by now. For some people it doesn't, for some people that's enough, whatever. That's all cool. I'm not saying you're wrong or how you're doing it is wrong. Just saying, like, making something like this, which is, why is the camera not focusing properly? Is this better? Does this work? There we go. These are little sculptures I make. And these are 3D modeled and 3D printed, and then you cast them and this and that and paint them. And it's a bit more effort than just taking or making a photograph, but it is a way of expressing myself, and it goes hand in hand with my photographs. This is not made out of any of my photography, like this, for example, is, or any of the other stuff I sell, right? It's all like a creative endeavor, and it's all like tactile, and it somehow gets something going in my head that makes me function better as a creative, as an artist, in my opinion anyway. And the guy in the repair shop saying like, oh no, you're doing too much. You're basically spread too thin. You need to concentrate on just shoot 4x5 black and white and develop yourself. It's the only way to get to a proper result. The question there is as with so many other things, the middle ground the best ground to be on? Or is the extreme really, and by extreme I mean just shoot 4x5 and maybe like medium format and just black and white and develop it yourself? Because I'm a big proponent of doing a lot of stuff myself, right? Like these things, or getting like frames, or like 3D printing frames or whatever, right? I mean, for me, this is cool. For me, the satisfaction comes from creating this. And if I'm then lucky enough to find someone who actually likes this and wants to buy this, I mean, I'm not saying the frames by themselves, right? They go with a picture. But I'm just saying, like, someone actually wanting to hang that in their home or their office, or wants to display that and look at it every day, that's something that makes me very, very happy. But the main satisfaction comes from creating that, having the idea, going through the process and finding a way to get there, being able to bring that to life. And that goes also, I'm just saying, I don't want to be patronizing, but just a photograph, right? If you have a concept, an idea for a photograph, and you want to find the right location, the right people, the right whatever it is you're shooting, and you put work into it, and then you get to what you had in your mind is very, very fulfilling. Limitations can be cool, and I will make a video on my first ever real photo project from a long, long time ago that some people might remember, which was like a 365-day photo project thing I did, which really was the start to everything for me creatively in my adult life. And for that project, for example, all the limitations I put on upon myself were very, very important. And I think there can always be varying degrees to that, but I do sometimes ask myself, because I do struggle with keeping all the balls rolling, or the balls in the air, or however you want to phrase that. I'm so concentrated in getting these properly printed the way I want them to, and all the other things that are going on, making videos for, why is the autofocus problems? I don't know why I use autofocus on videos like these. Everyone does, and then I do it, and then it's just not right. Sorry about that. Sorry about the disruption. What I was going to say is, like, I like to do things like these. I like to do my zines. I like to do prints. I like to do like my framed artwork, the Patreon page. I want to keep my blog updated. I need to get better again at being constantly on socials, because first of all, I enjoy it, but I also got very tired of it at some point and stopped doing it properly. Well, there's all these balls I'm juggling, right? And that's where his point of you're spread too thin basically comes in, where I'm like, is the right solution to cut back on all these things? Because they're all things, excuse me, in my head that go together so well, right? They're all part of me. They're all part of my creative self and my creative expression. And it's the same thing with music. I never understood people who only listen to one genre of music, right? I like to go from jazz to metal to this to that. There's a very wide spectrum of music I love to listen to. And if you look through one of my like bigger playlists, it's just this melange of everything in there, basically. Maybe not everything, but there's a lot of stuff in there. And on the other hand, again, I mean, I need to lose a lot of weight again. So ever since Corona, everything just, got out of hand again after I lost so much weight and worked so hard on that. And how I did that beforehand, because I lost around 30 kilos between 2018 and 2020, roundabout, right? And for me, that was really, it took a lot of energy. It was a big effort, but it also at some point I just got into a flow. And for that, limiting myself to a few things to start off with, to just work out every day, just be active every day, and then added more and more over time, restricting food intake, this, that, whatever was happening there. That helped me to get on track and lose all that weight and become so much more healthy and feel better and all that stuff. So the question is, do I need to do that for my creative life also, or do I just need to have better planning? Or is it actually really too much and the guy is right? And that's where I kind of struggle. And I would really love to get some input from other people who juggle all these things. And it doesn't need to be like so many different things. If you're just juggling 3 different things that creatively are things that actually interest you, right? Because, some people would argue just being in photography and filmmaking is a complete overkill and too much. And you have to, if you actually really want to be great at something, you cannot do so many different things, or even those two different things, even though they're so close in so many ways. I don't know. It's difficult to actually figure out, but it also is very, very interesting to take that spark the guy put in my head and just try maybe different methods of getting where I want to get to, because I actually think he's wrong. Of course I do. No, but I really do. And I really think that all these things can come together. And it's a very personal thing, right? Some people strive and are so fulfilled in concentrating on this one thing. And that's wonderful and amazing. And maybe I'm also kind of overcompensating for all those years that I didn't do so many of these things. Plus, I love experiencing stuff like that, right? To have the experience of creating stuff in a 3D modeling software, to sit at a throwing wheel and do pottery in the diverse methods that there are, and do this and that, woodworking, metalworking, all that. And for most of those things, I don't even have the slightest ambition to become the greatest or great or whatever, right? It's just flexing those muscles and getting those sparks of inspiration and creativity going, which then, though, inform all the other things I do that I mainly concentrate on, like the visual arts and all that stuff, right? Which help me also with like commercial work, and it all goes hand in hand. So it maybe also is a difference between whether you do it as a hobby and as a job. It's a good exercise, even just to go through the thought process of it, even if you don't like want to put something to practice. I'm not going to make I'm not going to limit myself to just doing this one thing for the next 6 months or something. Just shoot black and white or whatever. I think that time is kind of over for me. I'm going to keep doing my thing, but I might implement whatever I don't even know if I have any like proper findings yet on that. If I've come to a conclusion in my head yet. But whatever that conclusion will be, I will of course kind of try and implement into my daily routines and workflows and creative idea findings and bringing ideas to life and whatever. But as with so many things, I think it is very important to actually spend the time on thinking about it for a while and see what you can get out of it and how you can, implement it and see where it takes you. Maybe it's just a complete waste of time and the guy was just talking out of his ass. And as I said, no shade to the guy. He was awesome. He checked my camera, made clear that I'm the the light meter, which is wonderful and great, and I accept that. Did I forget anything? I don't know. I hope this made kind of sense. I would love to hear any kind of feedback on that, because I also think as creatives, we often do not exchange thoughts like these too much with each other. No matter if you're a hobbyist, full-time creative, whatever, right? It would be awesome to hear your thoughts on that problem, whatever it is. Because I think we need to be able to express ourselves according to our personality. And if that means just concentrating on this one thing for what amount of time that might be to get to the results and to the goal we want to, cool. if we need to be juggling 10 balls at the same time, cool as well. Because in the end, our personality needs to be in our work. And if any kind of restriction helps you to get to that goal, that's awesome. If just letting loose is the way to go, well, that's pretty awesome as well, I'd say. Have a wonderful week. See you probably next week. I'm actually not sure when I'm going to put this out, but I'm back home anyway, and I'm going to try and record a lot more regularly. I keep saying it. I need to keep myself accountable. You know what I mean. Bye!
音楽大好き。これは RBNA ラジオ。